All right, what makes breaking a habit so hard? And then what can we actually start to do so we actually can make changes that last? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And so let's talk about the 4 kind of factors that make breaking a habit, a bad habit, so dang hard. So number 1 is you have always had these unhealthy habits, always. And so it is so comfortable just to stay in this old way, this old behavior. Because we all know change is hard, and change is it's not just going to happen. And it is so much easier to just keep doing our old routines or our old habits. And so I talk with my clients about this all the time of like when we are making change and going through transformation, our brain works against us, which is a pain in the butt, but it's because when things are changing, our brain, and I call this our critter brain, but our brain goes like, warning, warning, something is wrong, something is off. Change for our brain means there's danger. Even though the new habit could be really good, you know? But for our brain, mentally for our brain, it's like, no, danger, danger. And so the number 1 reason why it's so hard to break a bad habit is because we've been doing this habit for so long and our brain has conditioned us to be like, oh, this is safe. You know, eating the junk food at night is safe. Eating the chocolate is safe. Not working out as much or as intense is safe because I don't want to feel sore in the morning, says our brain. And so that is number 1, you've been doing it for so long. Number 2 is that you identify with your old habits. And so what does this mean? It's like, I'm always the person that's late, or I'm always the person that can't say no to sugar, or I'm always the one for the wine, which isn't a bad thing. But if you identify with that, like really ask yourself the question of like, do I identify as, oh, I'm lazy. That's why I don't make changes because I'm lazy. Like, do you identify that or are you just saying that? And be really cognizant of the thoughts that are running through your head and the language that you're talking about yourself to other people. Because your thoughts create and dictate your behavior. And so even if you're just joking, like, oh, I'm just lazy, like, oh, I didn't make it to that workout because I'm just a lazy person, or I'm always late so I'm not going to make it, or like all these kind of identifying bad habit triggers, watch yourself for that, you know, and it's a hard one to get over. So number 3, why habits are so hard to break, or a bad habit is so hard to break, is that they have good payoffs. So let me ask you this. After a really long, stressful day, what do you want to do? Pick option A or option B. What sounds more comfortable? Option A, going and working out and doing an hour-long running on the treadmill. Or option B, Netflix and wine and maybe a sweet treat. Like this one right here seems really good because it has the quickest payoff. It has the quickest like, oh, I'm gonna get that spike of serotonin because of the sugar. And I'm gonna I am so exhausted right now. Why would I wanna go move my body like crazy when rest is probably what I need? And so breaking a bad habit is really hard because the payoff for a lot of these habits is really good. And so that's where we have to like kind of fine tune ourselves and realize that and understand that the short-term benefit is actually creating a long-term kind of negative effect for you or a negative influence for you. And to understand, okay, maybe the short-term benefit of working out is going to be really stressful. And again, I'm just talking about working out because that's the thing that popped in my head. But the short term of good habits, you don't see the payoff right away. You don't see them until like months down the road, if that, year down the road of being consistent every single day. And so that is why bad habits are really, really hard to break because they feel so good at the time. Number 4 is that you have an enemy in your head. And I'm calling that an enemy in the head because it is detrimental to you. But I'm talking about self-doubt. So this like what if kind of voice, or I'm not that type of person. Again, going back to the language aspect too, like you're just a lazy person. And so breaking bad habits is so hard because in your head you're like, no, I've been doing this for so long. I've been smoking, I've been drinking, I've been sleeping in. Like, I can't change. And even if it's not every single day, just a little bit of a voice, that is detrimental to your motivation. And so what can you do instead? So how do you actually create lasting changes in your behavior? There's 5 tactics that I want to talk about. So the first one is you have to get real with yourself. You have to know the truth of why you haven't followed through like you want to. And so the first part of that is like, look back at those 4 reasons why breaking a habit is so hard and try to figure out, which one am I? And it's also asking, I hound this in with my clients almost every single time that I talk with them, because it is so powerful, is when you're not showing up the way that you want to, when you feel like you're not breaking that bad habit, is ask yourself, like, be really true with yourself and figure out the root cause of why you didn't show up the way that you wanted to. And so asking the question of, what's stopping me or slowing me down or preventing me from getting in the way of what I want? Why did I not feel like I could show up and work out in the morning? Why did I sleep in and not start my day? Like, don't find the truth in that and ask those hard questions that sometimes we're just like, oh, I'm a lazy person. I just can't do that today. And then, but the routine keeps happening. So asking yourself, get down to the truth. Get down to the truth of, why am I not showing up the way that I want to be showing up? What is getting in the way of that, and what can I do to change it? Also, understanding, what is the purpose of me doing this, of me changing these habits and creating lasting change? What is the purpose for me? What is the bigger intention for me? And I'll get on this a little bit later on in another steps too, but it's just like, why am I doing this? What is the power behind it? What is the person that I'm trying to be? There's another thing, is asking yourself and getting to the truth of who you are and who you are meant to be. I know this is getting like a little bit ahead. I don't talk about this in my program until way kind of in the middle to the last part of it, because it is kind of jumping into kind of the personal development side of my program. But it is asking, who do you want to become? And are the behaviors that you're doing today, is the person that you want to become in 6 months, in a year, are these the qualities that that person shares? And getting to that truth and then living for that person. And always, my coach, she talked about this with me of, like, you need to be making decisions today based on who you in the future want to be, and who that person, what would they do? What would Katie in 6 months tell Katie right now today what choice to make, and finding the truth in that, and really just kind of taking the time to understand it. Number 2 to making lasting changes is choosing, making the choice. There's a quote, I can't remember who says it, and it's really simple, but it's, a lot of people want to get healthy, but not a lot of people choose to get healthy. So what are your choices today that you're making? It's not as, if you're starting on your journey, or if you're in the middle of your journey, it's not as easy as just like, oh, okay, like, I'm going to lose weight today, and then it just happening. You have to constantly make choices, and they're going to be hard choices, because again, like I was saying before, your brain, whenever you're making change and transformation, your brain goes, this is danger, stop, take a step back, stop it. But what we want is, you need to make that choice to get healthy and to choose it. And that's just, again, it's creating expectancy, like, this is the type of person that I am. And these are, like, it's action. It's taking the choice to choose action. And consistent action is what we want. Consistency is key. And really, too, going back to that question of, okay, what stopped me or slowed me down? What needs to change? And what are my action steps moving forward? And choosing those action steps and choosing just to do them. So number 3 around creating lasting transformation is changing how you think about things. So it's really, there's so much more. So part of getting healthy and losing weight is what you do. So that's the eating certain things, exercising, drinking the water. That's the what. the other half of the equation is, who are you being? What are the thought processes? And like, there's so much science that goes into like the way that you think about things and visualize things. And if you're thinking about things in the past or in the future, really dictates where you're going. And so you need different thought processes that leads you to the success that you want. And that's not actually self-sabotaging you. So learning, okay, when I do have these negative thoughts of, oh, I'm feeling so anxious that this isn't gonna work, or my body, like I don't feel confident right now, or what, am I eating the right amount of calories, or am I doing the right thing, which that's the diet mentality of, you gotta count this, you gotta look at this, you have to track this, and that leads to a lot of negative thinking. And so when you have these negative thoughts, you have to learn how to reframe them. Because it is, the more that we think about something, the more like it's going to come in fruition. And so it's looking at the negative thoughts, negative mindset, and recognizing, acknowledging them, understanding them, and then just kind of putting them into a new box and a new mindset shift. And like, I was just talking with my client about this too, of just like, when you have negative thought process about like, oh, I'm never the type of person to lose weight, or like, I can't do this. And then so we were talking about like all of these anxious thoughts that she was having. And she was like, Katie, I can't think about them. I just need to put them away. And I was like, you can't do that. You legitimately can't do that, because there's that common phrase, whatever resists, persists. And so if you're resisting those negative thought processes, that negative mindset towards yourself, or whatever kind of mindset that isn't working for you, if you resist that, if you don't deal with it, it's going to keep showing up and keep getting in the way of you making that transformation. And so this came up also in another experience too, of I was in my free coaching session that I offer, and we were talking about kind of what would, if you lost the weight, I asked her this, if you lost the weight, what will negatively happen to you? Because it's our body will only do, we're protecting ourselves. Every action that we do is doing something good for us. I know it's a paradigm shift that I coach my clients on, but it's like she's keeping the weight on for a reason. And so asking her, what is the negative thing that will happen when you achieve your goal? And so for her is her realization that there might be some unresolved issues in her social life that she's been kind of pushing down and kind of excusing, saying like, oh, it's because I'm self-conscious about myself, or it's because I'm overweight that I have these issues with my friends, or with my fiance, or with my partner. And so this is the hard part, but it's understanding, okay, this is where you self-sabotage. And so this is just the way to create lasting change is to get to the truth of this and to create new ways of thinking. So that's my gift to you right now, is the new way of thinking of, if you haven't lost the weight, or if you haven't created the habit that you want to be creating, or breaking the bad habit too, ask yourself, what is the positive intention that this is giving me right now? And by recognizing that, then you can say, oh, this is the issue that I need to actually be dealing with. Now I can go lose the weight. Which I know that sounds so simple, of like, now I can go lose the weight, but that's what happens. I promise you, that is what happens, because I've seen it so many times with my clients. So I'm asking you right now, what are the steps that you have to change your mental process? And you don't have action steps to change your mindset, you need a better action plan. And so if you need to talk this through, come talk with me. I have that free session. So come, let's chat about this and figure it out so that you actually know what right steps in the right order are for you. So number 4 in creating lasting transformation and actually breaking bad habits is to do it for a deeper purpose. So I always talk about this, and I know everyone's heard me talking about this constantly, is what is your why? What is your big, huge motivating factor for your health? What is the bigger purpose? Because it can't just be rooted in, oh, I just want to look good. Because question, How has that served you so far? How many New Year's resolutions has been rooted in because I want to look good, and what's your success rate? Or have you kind of bounced back, yo-yoed a little bit? Because right now, it's March. Or whenever you're seeing this, it's hopefully later than past the 21st of, or the 1st of January. How are you doing? Where are you at? Looking back at your January resolution, how are you doing? I'm genuinely asking because I want you to see success. So genuinely and truthfully answer me. How are you doing? And so if you're not showing up the way that you want to be showing up, find a deeper why. Your why is not big enough. Again, my clients, I'm like, if they come back to me session 2 and they aren't following through on their action steps, their why is not big enough. Or even honestly, even session 6 or 12 at the end of the program, if they're not following through, they lost track of their why, or their why changed. And so constantly just asking ourselves, what is the purpose of me doing this? What is it going to give me? Why is it important to me? What is my why? And if sometimes, and I know this is true for a lot of women too, sometimes saying what is my why isn't strong enough because it's hard for us to be selfless creatures. And so maybe it is then saying, who am I doing this for? Who do I need to show up for today? Who do I need to be my best version today for? And so that's another thing of just understanding and really visualizing who do I need to become to be my best version, and why is that important to me? So just constantly asking yourself, what are the 3 words that describe my best version of myself? And rooting, I know this is big in the personal development world, but rooting it into your weight loss or your health goals is everything. You know, there's Simon Sinek's Start With Why. Like, that is a huge business book, an entrepreneur book, and just honestly a book in life, to be honest. And so that's what I am here for you guys to do, is to grab all that business, personal development aspect and that leadership, but put it towards health, because it works. I don't think the health and wellness or the diet culture doesn't work, because they're an industry for a reason, because people need them and have been for years. And body image has been like a huge study since 1980, which doesn't seem that long ago, but that's just when people started worrying about women's health. Okay, I should probably cut that one out. So the 5th tactic in creating lasting transformation and developing lasting good habits is you need support. You need support and accountability, because it's everything. Because studies have shown that when you have a group of friends or an accountability coach or a support group or a support coach, like one person, just one person, when you have that, studies have shown people will lose twice as much weight when that's the goal. And so you need to have support. You need to have accountability. You need someone to push you when you're falling off, encourage you when you're on a roll, and just keep you just going. Because again, consistency is key. Consistency is what we want. Because you can look at the nuts and the bolts of losing weight or transforming your energy or kind of losing the bad habits. You can find the information. There's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's everything. There's people on social media always talking about this stuff. You can get the nuts and bolts of it. But to create lasting change and transformation, you need the support and accountability. You need it. I promise you, just find one person, 2 people, one person, just that will give you the support and accountability that you need. So that's my challenge for you. This week, find one person that will create for you the support and accountability to get you into living that best version of yourself. So guys, go all in. I'm here for you. I'm rooting you on. You got this.